Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Devil's Advocate. Now, of course, we've won 3 points. We're happy about that, and we will come to that in a moment. But I just wanted to obviously say a few words today. A massive part of Manchester United obviously passed away at the early hours of this morning. Sir Bobby Charlton. I've got a video that I obviously want to play to you, and I obviously want everyone in the comments to pay their respects as well. Massive loss, massive to Manchester United, obviously in particular, but also England too, and a massive miss for the club. So I'll push this video out to you guys first. Get your comments in, get liking, get subscribing, and we'll see you on the other side.
And we were playing against Bayern Munich, and we were a goal down with 2 minutes to go, and I thought, if we can just get the ball into the box, you know, you can call it blind faith, what you want, but I thought, if we can just get the ball in the box and we can get a goal, it'll give us that little bit of extra time. We'll win this still. I was convinced that we could win, and then the ball came across, and because it was 2 minutes from the end, Peter Schmeichel, the goalkeeper, came up. And I don't know what it is about the Germans, you know, they could be very orderly and disciplined, but it threw them completely. You know, they had all the plans for who they were going to mark, but suddenly this great big blonde goalkeeper, this Dane, came up and it threw them completely. And suddenly, for the first time, there was a bit of disarray in their defence, and the ball fell to Ryan Giggs, who hit the ball into Dwight York first, hit the ball into the box. Four of their defenders had gone with Peter Schmeichel, and then the ball fell to Terry Sheringham, and he didn't hit it well, but he hit it goalwards, and then you see the back of the net, and I'm up, and I can't remember really. I remember apologising to some people in front of me for jumping over them, very important FIFA officials as well, and then I sat back, and I tried to keep myself cool, but while I was actually thinking, keep cool, we went and we got a corner. David Beckham knocks the ball across, Teddy Sheringham helps it on, and Gunnar Solskjaer knocks the ball into the net. And as the ball hits the net, for me it was as though the world stood still. I thought, this is what paradise is all about. It's got to be. And I honestly do not remember what I did for about 5 minutes. I went up to my wife and my daughter, my son-in-law were up there. I dashed up to them, I dashed back, and suddenly the world was great again. And I thought, well, there is nothing ever going to be better than this.
A big interview that I'm sure you've all seen. Massive loss today, as I said, for the footballing world, but particularly Manchester United, and a very sad day. 3 points means nothing, to be honest. I know we're all happy about it, but a massive loss. Anyway, match reaction. Stu, Kai, thank you so much, both of you, for joining me. Really appreciate it. As always, late one tonight. Everyone in the comments, really appreciate you being here as well. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and all that jazz. Stu, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, well, obviously, first of all, Sir Bobby Charlton was just outside of my era, so I was really unfortunate not to see him play. I've actually met him on a few occasions, and he signed a couple of things for me. And I always found him to be a very generous, soft-hearted man, very down to earth, very caring. Once you got him out on that football field, he turned into this kind of this monster, this T-Rex of a player, and unfortunately part of Manchester United has passed away as well today. And this is one of the things that bugs me about modernism in football, and I talk about it all the time, Marc, as you well know, and you do, Kai, that people think Manchester United was born through Sir Alex Ferguson, but it wasn't. The history of this club is phenomenal, and the importance of people who came before Beckham, Giggs, Cantona, Scholes, Sir Alex Ferguson, you know, played just as important role and just as important a part of what this club is and what it means to us, and why generations of our families support it and still support this great club to this day. And but Bobby Charlton is almost single-handedly epitomizes, unfortunately, because he's part of the Holy Trinity, Best, Law and Charlton, etc. And Dennis Law perhaps doesn't get the credit he deserves, and Best again doesn't actually maybe get the credit that he deserves alongside Charlton. Charlton seems to stick his head above that amazing parapet of a trio. And so it's a very, very sad day. I've kept my powder dry on it. But we love you, Bobby, and we will miss you dearly. As for today's woeful match, I don't want to drill down into it too much because I think I'll be here for quite a while on how inept we still are. Retaining the ball, holding the ball, transitioning the ball. I could go on forever. But we've come away with 3 points on a day we desperately needed 3 points. We've come away with 3 points, which I think Ten Hag needed. We come away with 3 points, which the players needed. But we've not really come away with 3 points with any kind of momentum. And we are seriously going to struggle next weekend, next Sunday afternoon, I think it is, if we don't have some kind of huge turnaround in ability and this will that we've just seemed to have has been drained out of us. So the shining light for me today was Sir Harry Maguire.
Very good.
It's no surprise. I'm not even going to talk about him because it's just no surprise. I thought Johnny Evans was good. I thought Lindelof, after about 20 minutes, was decent at left back. Dalot drifted in and out the game. He obviously got his goal. This big rise for McTominay to start was always going to be a mistake. Yes, he scored, fine. But again, he didn't necessarily have the huge impact in the game that we needed from him, which made Amrabat's job very, very difficult. We're kind of getting there with Anthony slowly but surely. Rashford kind of went back to his don't know what to do with the football phase in his play again, stopping and trying to restart, etc. And then for me, the other shining light was Højlund. I mean, if we can get it right with that kid, he'll put up the same type of numbers that Ruud van Nistelrooy put up for us. He's got that ability. He's got that wherewithal.
Big call.
Well, you know me. I would never make a big call on that if I didn't see it, and I can see it. I can see it in his movement. I can see it in his hold-up play. But he's just running into and making these runs across goal, front or near, or back post, and he's just not getting found all the time. I'll give Rashford a little bit of credit. He at least made an attempt to pop the ball across on more than one occasion today, but because he's not used to it, his accuracy is woeful, and so he needs to really add that to his game. So, all in all, you've got to take football for what it is, and that is, we've got 3 points. We're not too far off top four as it transpires. Very strange. It's a strange league at the moment, but we're going to get a bit of a pasting on Sunday if we don't do something to kind of get ourselves out of these doldrums that we're in. But I've said it before, only the players can do it. They've clawed out another result, and I don't think Sheffield United were great today. I thought they were okay. I thought they were a workmanlike side, but I don't think they were brilliant. But at the end of the day, we can remember Sir Bobby the Great fondly, and we can tap it off with 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely right. Great words there, buddy. And lots of people in the comments also paying their respects as well. And obviously, really appreciate that. A massive loss for world football. Kai, I'm assuming you're an angel because you've got a halo over your head. Is that right?
Listen, I'm already okay. Before I begin, let me just say, rest in peace to Sir Bobby. Just a little bit of a story for us lovely Africans. We always used to, of course, the most games we've watched have been on TV. So we're just used to the TV screen. And there's always a specific visual or panning that the camera does, regardless of the game. And normally it's like a big Champions League game. It's raining. And you just see Sir Bobby with his lovely haircut, that little haircut with the 3 little thingies going over the top like that.
Yeah.
And it's an image ingrained in our heads, right? It's always Sir Bobby and maybe Sir Alex right next to him, and maybe David Gill right next to him. So it's like I'm very used to seeing that. So it's quite sad that we won't get to see that image often. So, that's quite sad. But look, we just have to celebrate the man for all the good that he did. I think, he is Mr. Manchester United himself. And I think one of the only good outcomes of today is that we got the 3 points so that we could actually appreciate the rest of, or the next few days, especially with Sir Bobby. So that's that's good. But on a lighter note, lads, I've had a tough day, tough football day. I lost at penalties today in a cup game. Terrible ref. I'm just going to call him out right now. I hope he watches the channel, but you are terrible, mate. You are the worst referee I've ever seen. And then I had to sit through United making me nervous. Who else knew we would concede straight after we scored? I just knew it would happen somehow. I just knew it would probably hit someone's bum, go in the back of his head.
14 goals have been conceded within 5 minutes of scoring ourselves. Can you believe that? That's terrible.
That is mad. That is wild. That basically means like the I don't know if it's like we're still in celebratory mood, or it just means that the other team just pushed up they just went up a gear a little bit, and then we can't cope with that period which the team goes up a gear a bit. I don't know. It could be one of those, but I feel like today's game was
a bit of both.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of both. And look, I'm gonna be that guy. So Maguire was good, but for me, I am I don't know, I'm against those passes that he plays, the long passes. And I'll tell you why. Because they spend so much time in the air. They don't do anything for our progression because they spend 2 seconds, 3 seconds in the air because it's like a loop ball. It's not really that useful. And I felt like our center backs were just trying to be playmakers the entire game. So there was pretty much Amrabat is like, give it to me right now. Line breaking on the ground. Fizz it. Nope. We're going that way again. And then something happens. And then Amrabat was literally going in and out. And he was a shadow. So pretty much you've got a ball player that you have to trust. Give him the ball to the feet. And if he loses it, we can blame him. But he's strong and he knows what he's doing. But we don't use that progression. We didn't use our central midfield to progress the ball at all against Sheffield. So I don't know what the real plan is, because it just looked like Evans and Maguire were the ones that were trying to do the playmaking from 40 yards away from goal. Everything going left, right. So for me, that's a little bit of a contentious thing. And I don't know if it was designed that Maguire and Evans do it. I don't know, Stu, maybe you give it, maybe was it situational? Because there was this ball that was just kept on going back to Evans like this.
Yeah,
like over the top, 3 seconds in the air.
It's interesting. It's interesting, Kai. Actually, you make a really good point about trajectory of a football.
Yeah.
Doesn't get spoken enough about, actually. And if you were to push the ball 40 yards in the air, it is going to hang in there. And that travelling distance, by the time it leaves the foot to its intended target, gives me as a defender chance to set myself and either make the interception or decide where I want to be to allow him to not turn or do anything with it. You're absolutely right. If you're fizzing a ball at maybe 20 yards height, but you're fizzing it with a lot more pace, you're thinking time's gone. So I would never do that as a centre half. I don't do that. I don't play unless unless I need to, unless I've got nothing short, I'll go long. But I'm with you on that one. There's no point going long because the chances of us retaining possession higher up the pitch from a looping ball are almost zero. They really are, because our forwards aren't great in the air. There's only really Hoyland who can hold it up. He's got the strength to do it. So I would always go short. So I tend to agree with you. Amrabat was making positional play to have it. He was making yards around him where he was free to take it. He could have taken it, given it back, moved again and taken it again, which is what Casemiro does so well from Martinez. But we didn't do that. I don't know whether Ten Hag maybe trusts that element of Maguire's game at the minute and Johnny Evans' game. So he's thinking to himself, look, if you get it, try and find an out for us.
But you know what I think sometimes, okay, maybe I'm going to sound a little bit like a pessimist, but for me at times when Maguire has the ball, it looks like, okay, cool, I need to make the decision here. You can actually see him sometimes galloping. He's just galloping, like just going. And I'm like, no, brother, just your center half. Give this guy and leave it. Sometimes he's trying to do too much. Too much playmaking is what I'm saying. So, and I'm not sure if that's by design, and I'm not sure if that's, because then it's not his fault. If it's by design, it's not his fault. Then he's the one finding the space, and he's the one finding the loop. It's the only way. But
you've also got to consider his mentality at this point in time. If he gives away a 2-yard ball, 3-yard ball, he gets vilified in the press, doesn't he? No, you shouldn't play football that way, Kai, as you well know. You shouldn't play that way. You should just play your game. So he might be thinking to himself, look, I'm just going to take the path of least resistance. However, that aside, his overall game defensively top drawer today. It's the best I've seen him. He was really, really good. I don't know whether Johnny Evans is bringing that old partnership out that they had a couple of years ago in Leicester. I don't know. It could well be, but there's something about Maguire at the minute. He's a lot more sturdy. Brilliant in the air again. Don't think he lost a headed jewel, did he? Not to my knowledge.
Well, we've spoken about him a few times. His aerial ability is better than anyone else in the team.
Good interception. I think having Onana, because I thought Onana was much better today. Looked really sharp today. And whether that Onana, the way that he closes down the spaces helped Maguire. I mean, we've spoken about it, Kai. We felt it would. We always felt that Maguire needed that. So there's something about Maguire today that I'm okay. I'm on that plate of a player of the match, so to speak, because quite frankly, nobody deserved it. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't give a player of the match. I haven't given one all season. We just don't, the player don't deserve it.
But another thing, which actually on the positive side, in all fairness, we did create a bucket load of chances on average in a good game or in a normal game, considering that we don't score much and all of that. But the chances we created also then let you see how confidence plays a big part in us. Because Garnacho, there is no way he's screwing the ball wide like that. If everything in the club is going well, if everything is electric, at the moment it just seems like there's a little bit of an element of, I don't know, fear or something, in the air, because normally that's just, even in the academy days, he opens his body and he puts it in the back of the net and the net bulges so hard and everyone's celebrating. But now it seems 100%. Like, it's a little bit tentative, so.
He's playing with a 20 watt. He's playing with a 20 watt light bulb up his arse at the minute. He needs 100 watt because when he started playing a couple of seasons ago, when he came into it, it was bright when he was quick, as you said. He was very, very rapid across the pitch, and his shooting was accurate and 9 out of 10 times hitting the target. Woeful today. Even he got the offside wrong as well, didn't he? He was looking across the line as well. Criminal, absolutely criminal. And as a coach, Kai, you'd be crucifying your winger for that. Criminal.
Various people have said to me that we could have won by 3 or 4 today. I think confidence. Just give me a sec, Stu. Just give me a sec. So confidence, obviously, being an issue.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm disagreeing with what you've been told. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Well, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Now, I feel like if we had won 3 or 4-1. the conversation may have not been the same. I don't think we were too bad. We weren't as creative. Well, we were creative. We weren't clinical. But I feel that, it wasn't really a bad performance. Disagree with me, Stu, if you want.
No, it's not that I don't disagree with you. Look, our play, as Kai mentioned, was steady. It was slow, but we still managed to create 8 or 9 really good chances. But the thing is, Mark, is that anyone can say you should have won 4 or 5-1, but we didn't. We didn't put the ball in the back of the net 5 times. We only put the ball in the back of the net twice. So I'm not disputing the fact, but we haven't looked like winning by 4 or 5 goals this season, have we? I mean, please tell me if we have it. So it's not that I don't disagree with Mark. I absolutely agree with you. I will always offer an opinion, but when you're talking to somebody who knows football and understands football and sees the football pretty much the way that I see it and the way that Kai sees it, I would never disagree with you, mate. My point would always be there's been absolutely no value to anyone saying we're going to win 3-4-5-1. This just isn't going to happen. Now, until we get it right with Højlund, and I honestly believe this, I think Højlund is going to be one hell of a forward. I think he's going to be. I really do think he could get Ruud's numbers if we start delivering to him. But we're so slow at the minute in our ball progression. Now, when you go away from home, and Kyle will tell you this, I don't know if you're away from home today, Kyle, or not, but when you go away from home, you're always on the back foot for 20, 25 minutes, but you're actually on the back foot by your own making. You're allowing them to come at you because you want to try and get a stronger hold in the game. For the first 5 minutes, you won't see the football because they're at home. They're going to try and get an early goal. It happens week in, week out. So you try and weather that storm. I thought we weathered it okay, and Arne made 1 or 2 decent stops. Okay, I think his catching or his parrying at the moment, he's not parrying it away from goal, he's parrying it into goal. But our defenders were alert to that today. But it's then what you do with it when you do find that sweet spot and you do warm up. And you do start to play the game, and we play the game wonderful. In the middle third, we play it nice there, but we don't play it brilliantly up top in the final third, which is where we need to be more cutting. And that's because, and I touched on it briefly with Rashford, I thought, and Johnny Commode is absolutely right. Johnny K, good to see you, mate. Is absolutely right that he did play slightly better today, but he still wasn't as penetrative as we needed him to be and as Højlund needs him to be. And he did try on a couple of occasions to get the ball across. And on that one occasion, Højlund just couldn't get his leg to it. And the reason for that, by the way, is Højlund was 1 second off the pace. He wasn't ready for it. And that's because
I was screaming at that point. I felt like he probably should
and I'm
have
not
been
making
a bit more
excuses
alert
for
there.
Højlund. Yeah, I'm not making excuses for Højlund because he should have stuck it away. He should have been a bit sharper, but he potentially wasn't expecting Rashford to put the ball across. So it's a bit swings and roundabouts, but that's the only reason I would take issue to anyone saying to me, we're going to win 3-4-5-1. It's just not happening. We just aren't clinical enough right now in front of goal. And Kai, I'll tell you, Kai could have had 90% of the play today, 70%, 60%, 80%, but he didn't win the game of football because he didn't score goals. So to Kai, that 70% is kind of an irrelevance, really, because he lost the game. And that's all I was saying, Mark. It's not like I was disagreeing with you, pal, because
No, it's all right. No problem at all.
I've seen no evidence we can score 5 goals. Unless you have, pal. I mean, please.
No, I do agree. I think that creatively, I think we were far better today. I think
we were. Yes.
Kai hit the nail on the head that we just lacked that confidence. I absolutely agree with that too. But I do feel that it was one of those games where if we had been a little bit more clinical, had got maybe 3 or 4, and I get it, you have to score them in order to achieve that. I feel like the conversation would be very different. I think we played okay, pretty okay. I was quite calm about the performance. You know what I mean? First 20 minutes, struggled a little bit, got into the game. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. In the last 25 minutes, we're going to move on now. In the last 25 minutes, lots of reports stating that Paul Mitchell the early front runner to become the director of football. Take what you want from that. Exciting for me. I hope that's the case. We'll see what happens, but probably a lot of hearsay after all the takeover stuff. Probably no one has a clue either, and we'll have to wait and see. But if that's true, I'll be happy with that. I want to talk about Amrabat a little bit, if that's all right. I felt, I mean, you made a point earlier, Stu. Perhaps you were kind of signifying that the defence didn't help him out a little bit, but I felt that on occasions gave the ball away a little bit, probably wasn't very assertive, didn't look very assured defensively. Kai, I'll come to you on this. What was your take on Amrabat's performance?
So I completely disagree with everything that you said. And here's why I disagree. What's become obvious is anyone that plays the deep lying midfield position at United is doing everything by themselves. Everything. They're covering the fullback space in behind because someone just made a useless pass just after we've just started the attack. He's covering the cutbacks. If you notice, we didn't concede too many cutbacks because positionally he's in the right position as well. If you notice as well, when it comes to build up, he is in the right spaces waiting for the ball that never comes back. But once the ball advances, he still goes back to the right position so that we don't have all these transitional moments. And again, his side, the side with Delo, didn't have so many transition moments. But if you see when they were swinging the ball over to the left-hand side, then that's where the gaps were because Bruno was playing on that side. And he was sort of almost following Amrabat. So there was a lack of understanding of how am I playing this 8 position over here. So I think he was doing a lot by himself. A lot of balls bouncing in the box. He was going and getting at the end of them. And also I think some of the loose passes, which you're saying, so I saw some of them into midfield. Some of those passes are literally because the obvious thing is when you see him about to wind up for the pass as a number 9, you've got to run in front of your defender. But then the ball gets played and it goes directly to the center half. And then you look at our number 9 and you're like, bro, you didn't move. You didn't move at all. The ball is coming to you. And this is literally what happens, for example, in Serie A. These are the passes they play because the Italians are so good at one-touch passing like that. In those spaces, the ball will just get pounded into the feet of a number 9, touch over here, touch out wide. It's things that make sense. And I think some of our players, we just don't do things that make sense. So, of course, you put a footballer that's actually a footballer that makes sense, that controls the tempo, but then someone like Maguire will watch him and he'll be like, give it to me. I know what I'm doing. Just give me the ball because I'm going to give it to this guy. And then by the time it gets to this guy, you should be over here. And then the ball should be over there. And then we're out. But no, you want to not give it to him so that you can play it long yourself. So there's a lot over here that, I think it's way more complex when you actually know that a footballer is good and you know what they're good at and you know that they're a tempo controller and that they know exactly how to move the play around. And then it doesn't happen when they join Manchester United. For me, there's that one for me, you can actually see that he knows what he's doing because he's got legs and he's a good central defensive midfielder. But then you look at the rest of the things and you're like, nothing else is working for each other. Like, that's why, Anthony on the left, on the right, Rashford on the left, Højlund in the middle. How does that mix with each other? How are those guys playing? How are they understanding each other? Anthony wants to go top corner. Rashford wants to go top corner. Højlund is saying, please, please feed me. I'm here. It never gets to him. So that's why I'm saying for some
in all
people,
fairness,
it looks worse.
In the last few weeks, I think Anthony's going to take a little bit more time. Obviously, he's been out for a little bit, but I feel like Rashford is the only one really supplying Højlund on a lot of those occasions.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in terms of I'm just making this reference, this parallel to the midfield, right? So like Amrabat, he's next to McTominay and he's next to someone else. So you're not going to see the smart touch, give it to me, line breaking pass. So I don't really look at it like that. I just think he did what he could with who he was with in that midfield because it was still a big job that he had to do. So forgive me for defending him, but I do disagree that he had a bad game.
No, well, here's the thing, and this is why people should watch this channel. because both of you guys are right. Mark was right, and so were you. But you're right in different ways. Mark was right from the eye test. That's what you want to call it. I hate the eye test. And Kai's right about the way that we were playing football. So you're both equally right. So it looked like on the face of it, if you didn't really drill down and watch Amrabat, he was having a pretty poor game. But if you did, on the flip side of it, watch him, like Kai's explained, he was doing what he could with it. So and you don't get that shit on any other channel. You just don't get the information that you two guys are talking about on any other channel. You won't get it on United Stand because they wouldn't have a clue what they were talking about, and other channels, because Mark was right. When you look at the way that he on occasions was wandering around aimlessly, but he was wandering around aimlessly because Harry was flipping the ball away from him and he wasn't getting the ball to feet where he needed it. And then when he did have the ball and he was making one or two passes that appeared to be intercepted, was because the intended target wasn't actually doing what he was instructing him to do. And that's it in a nutshell. So you're both absolutely right in the way that you were trying to explain it. So Amrabat has got to be a little bit selfish in what he does now and how he moves forward, and say, well, look, I am holding the baton. You'll do what the fuck you're told, because it's me that's going to find you. I'm the one that's going to bring you into this game. I'm the one that's going to allow you to transition the ball easier. I'm the one that's going to cut, as Kai said, cut out the crossing. If I need to cover Dallo at right back, or I need to cover Lindelof at left back, I'll be there alongside Maguire. If the ball goes over Maguire's head, I'm there to sweep it up. And he did that. But when you look at the defensive point of view, he was trying his very best to make something happen and make something tick. We just weren't connecting, and that's because Højlund or Rashford or Anthony wasn't on the same wavelength. Now, whether that's down to communication from Amrabat, I mean, he's a French speaker, isn't he? So I don't know, how he can communicate, whether he communicates in English, whether
English
or how
is great.
or how he does it with Anthony or not. But that's his main trouble tonight. That's all it was. And so, the word parts where I looked at it, Kai, and I thought, well, he's off the pace tonight. That's not great. But when you deep dive into it, then you do realise that actually what he's trying to do is exactly what we need him to do, but it's just not being taken off.
And if I can just add to that quickly, if you notice, so when I talk about pace on the ball, I was talking about Maguire launching it and it's taking a long time. If you see sometimes when Amrabat dropped into the third centre-back position, he was playing the ball way quicker, doing the exact same thing that was always going to happen before from Maguire anyways. So my issue is not that our centre-backs don't get on the ball or whatever, but the decision that they make is just 2 seconds too late, but it's still the same thing they were always going to decide. So Maguire will get it, and then he will look, and then he'll be like, okay. All right, still take it. And then now you're under pressure. The whole thing is changed now. Now everyone's chasing back, and that's my issue. So if you see when Amrabat goes there, it's get the ball, go. Move the ball. Get the ball, go. Move it. Because it's the right decision. It's still the same thing you're always going to do. You're going to play to the free man, so just play to the free man. Then it takes off this playmaking sort of burden that our players feel that they need to do, playing our wingers and all of that. So I just think we just need to get that short passing better around the corners. We have the players who can do it, but sometimes
we do. And I always say, Kai, the pitch doesn't move. It stays still. The pitch stands still. The pitch doesn't grow in width. It doesn't shoot in length. It doesn't slim down in width. It's the same dimensions. The same dimensions you've been playing football on since you were probably 5 years old. Certainly, I did. We always used to play. We never had smaller pitches. We always played on full size pitches. You're training every day. Short passing, sharp pass, first touch, vision off your first touch. In training, as the ball's coming across to you, you're already 3 passes ahead. Exactly, like you said, exactly where you want to place it and where it should go after that. because you got this knowledge. They've got this knowledge, these footballers. For whatever reason, we're just not putting it to the bed.
Yeah,
Very strange.
Is something going on with Bruno? Because he's a little like off. Like, and when I say off, I mean like he'll literally you'll see he's making the wrong decision and he'll still do it. Like he can see it.
It's the armband. It's the armband. The armband.
I think it's weighing heavy on him a little bit. Weighing heavy a little bit.
Well, yeah, but like I say, everybody says, oh, we need a skipper here, we need a skipper there. You don't. Bruno should forget it. Should actually forget it's on his arm and get on with it and start playing his natural game again.
It's funny that you say that, because I was thinking to myself, oh, like Bruno maybe is feeling the weight of the armband, but then I'm like, no. In fact, this is genius move is give your attacking players the armband so that they don't have to think about all of this nonsense. It's really all on the rest of the team to be men, I think, because Messi's been captain. Do you think Messi was going to tell, doing a Spartan speech to everyone? Of course not. He was just expecting everyone to do their job. Everyone does their job at 100%. That helps him. And then he scores a goal. And then he's the captain. So, like, I just feel like that's why attacking players are being given the armband, so that there's no discussion over this whole leadership thing and whatever, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, if, De Bruyne as a captain, or, all these attackers are captains these days, so I just think like you said, he just needs to forget this thing, but he just needs to play his football, because sometimes it's just not, it's a little bit of nerves or whatever. But I think overall, look, it's good. We got our 3 points. I think, Martial was good when he came up. Hey, listen.
Yeah, Martial was decent.
I was a bit concerned about Højlund coming off, actually. I felt like we were pressing well, and he was kind of focal to that. And I was a bit concerned about Martial coming on. But I have to say, in the last few weeks where he has come onto the pitch for United, he's been pretty good, pretty tenacious, holding the ball well, link play very good, but he was good against there, wasn't he? Listen, guys, we're going to move on to player ratings now. We're going to go over massively, otherwise it is a late one, obviously. But this is why it's a school day for everybody, guys. Really appreciate all the words you put in there, and I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to learn. Do you know what I mean? So thank you.
You're not wrong. You weren't wrong.
No, I'm taking the piss.
You were right in what you said. You haven't been wrong tonight. You've been right in what you said. The beauty of football is,
it's about time.
And the beauty of this channel is that we're able to see it just slightly differently, but still come to the same conclusions. That's what Kai was doing. He come to exactly the same conclusion as what you had, but he just gave a different viewpoint, and his viewpoint was absolutely right. It doesn't get done on other channels. I don't care what anyone says. You can go and watch any other fan channel. You don't, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I don't. You could argue with me. Anyone could argue that with me, till they're blue in the face, and it just doesn't happen. And I love the boys over at Stretford Paddock. It doesn't even happen over there, mate. It just doesn't. So you weren't wrong, mate. So
listen, I was taking the piss.
It's in the name, really. Devil's advocate. It's in the name.
Absolutely,
it is.
Now it's good to have a little debate like that. I enjoy that. To be honest, I had the missus chatting a face off to me tonight, so it was all bit part of me trying to work out exactly what was going on. So I didn't see as much as you lot. But anyway,
you didn't miss much.
No, obviously not. I obviously missed nothing at all. Right, moving on to player ratings, and guys, get your comments in as well with these. Want to get you involved too. Andre Onana, and I'll give that to you, Kai.
Steady. Give him 7.5 because he claimed a few good saves, and I wouldn't give him because it would have been sort of a good performance fully if he didn't knock everything back in goal. I mean, we were a bit lucky with some of that. And it's funny because I was listening to a podcast the other day about ranking how good his safe handling is. I think it's the Devil's Agenda, something, the one of the channels, and they were talking about ranking how good he is at safekeeping. So when someone shoots and how he parries the ball, and a lot were arguing 2 out of 5, and some were arguing 3.5 or 4 out of 5. and I tended to agree with the 2.5 out of 5. And then when I see this, I'm kind of seeing what that perspective is, because it's not safe. It's a good save, and someone was awake, but it's not super safe. So I'd say 7.5, because he made some good saves that saved us as well. So
yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you, and I think Stu mentioned that earlier. I think defenders were in the right position at the right time to kind of pick up those pieces. Needs to improve on that. I think from his perspective, the amount of scrutiny he's been under, I think it was a solid comeback and hopefully a massive turning point for him for sure. Diogo Dallo, then over to you, Stu.
6 for me. Even though he scored his goal, again woefully out of position on more than one occasion. He just was. His overall play, I thought, was just about average today. I thought the way he kept possession wasn't great. It was bobbling around off his feet. He was okay in support of Anthony. I don't think Anthony had a great game today, which I'm sure we'll touch on later. But you know what? He gets a 6 by virtue of his goal. I just don't see it at all. I'm sorry. I'd love to offer a better. I should really give him a 7, shouldn't I, for his goal? But I'm not going to. I'm going to give him a 6.
0.5.
Listen,
No.
it was a dreadful performance as a defender until
But
the goal. It was
correct.
poor.
But I do want to point.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned
if I
about my Christmas present from Stu, because I've been so nice to him all year, and he's going to give me fuck all, isn't he?
Yeah. So if I may, then just move on to Lindelof, because I do have a couple of points on Lindelof. Now, Lindelof had a real torrid 20 minutes, 25 minutes. When you're not a natural left back and you're up against a naturally gifted, talented left winger, he got wrong side of him, which is absolutely nuts. Because, and I can't remember the guy's name now, the winger. I forgive me, I can't remember his name. Anyway, instead of squaring him, he should, basically allowing him to come down the line, and Lindelof is just there as a brick wall. He was slightly to the right and slightly too high, which enabled the winger to run off him on 2 or 3 occasions. Once he got that sorted, and he did sort it out, Lindelof, I thought he was absolutely solid. I really did. Once he got and he understood what was happening and where to position himself, needed to, you got to give yourselves 2-3 yards on that when you're playing against a naturally left-footed winger, because you cannot allow him to come in on his left foot. You've got to keep him out. You've got to keep him pushed wide at any one time. And I thought for the first 20 minutes, I thought we were going to be in for a real problem here. And he did. He got 3 on 3 occasions at least when he had got to the quarter. The quarter of the 18-yard box, and he really, should have delivered better. So fair play to Lindelof. So I'm going to give Lindelof a 7 on that. So I didn't want to do the 2 fullbacks, but I just thought it was
that's
important to point that out.
And I think you have to bear in mind as well, it's not his natural position.
I thought
for the first 20 minutes struggled, but really came
bad.
into it.
He was bad the first 20 minutes, really bad.
One of the advantages as well for him as well was his aggression. I think he was really aggressive on the winger as well, because he was more aggressive than our fullbacks, actually, because our fullbacks normally watch the winger do something until they get in the box. But you see Lindelof actually goes into it. He might get cooked once or twice. That's okay. But he actually goes towards. He does the jumping movement so that he tries to win the ball a little bit earlier. So the winger didn't get in the box a lot, which is normally what happens. There's this cut back, cut in, and then someone is going like this, trying to get away from the attacker. So I think that helped him, the aggression into the tackle. So
100%. He once he got it sorted, once he sorted his feet out, sorted his position out, understood where Evans was in his peripheral. Yeah, much better, much better.
Yeah, good, solid in the end. Kai, do you want to rate both Evans and Maguire then, please, buddy?
Maguire. I think he can get his 8. Because I think I mean, how did we concede the goal? It was just a penalty, right?
Scotty Marc.
Yeah,
Exactly.
McTominay.
So I think the rest of it, I mean, look, it is the Premier League. If you fall asleep, you concede. If you defend poorly, you concede. We've seen it, and all of that. So I do think that the fact that he actually also limited Sheffield, because in the other games they do get quite a lot of chances as well. They're not a bad team. They lose narrowly. Okay, this sounds like a relegation team, but they lose narrowly, but actually they play quite well. So I think he was very solid in terms of that. I'll take off the 2 points because that's 2 seconds the ball's in the air too long all the time. For Evans,
just quickly on Maguire before you move on.
Yeah.
So since October 2022, obviously when Martinez got involved, Harry Maguire was kind of dropped. We've played 16 games with him. 15 games we've won. No, 15 games we've won. So it's 94% without 42, and we've only won 22 of those. I appreciate everyone's viewpoint and obviously the frailties he does have, but he is a very good defender. Yeah.
But to be fair, it's a good stat, right? But there is so many things that could be involved in between, such as
of course.
When he comes on, what's the game looking like, such as who's the opposition, such as, there's so many things, that are involved in that type of a stat. And of course, if you see the other stat, which is used to compare, is the games without, and the games without is a lot more games without. So, it's always imbalanced, but fair enough to him in terms of that. But if I was him, I would not take that stat in my head.
I don't think he will.
You keep pushing now.
He said it for England, right, in the press conference. Yeah, my win percentage is high. I'm just saying he just needs to forget all of that stuff.
Concentrate on the game.
Out with whatever. Play the game, win the games. You know what I'm saying? Because it serves no purpose being dropped the next game anyways. And then we lose that game, and then you come back for an easier game and you win that game, and then you say with and without. So I just think for him, this is already good performance. He needs to just keep going. I think, without the papers, no talks, no interviews, none of that crap. But anyways, Evans, I was going to give him a 7 until I saw him doing some silly things in the last 15 minutes or the last 20 minutes, diving in. And that type of diving in was the tired diving in. That was the old statesman. The old statesman diving in. That's why, I will forgive him for a little bit of. That was Ten Hag's maybe. He was pushing him a little bit, but I think he was quite solid. I think.
He was.
Also, another thing which I also am not understanding is his line breaking passes have also reduced, but he's really good. Like that. In the center, hard pass to the ground. Him and Maguire should have been trying a little bit more left foot, right foot of those ones. But otherwise, I think I'll give him a 7. Maguire an 8.
Yeah, the fair scores.
I saw a tweet from Andy Mitten earlier. Man United have won all 3 games that Johnny Evans has started this season. In fact, Manchester United haven't lost a game. Evans started back since the 3-5 to Leicester in 2014. Ballon d'Or is still on.
That game was the beginning of the end for Van Gaal because he never ever played the same formation again. Just saying.
It's true.
Correct.
Right, let's speed this up a little bit, guys. Obviously, we'll move on to the midfield now. Shu, I'll give you Amrabat.
I'm going to give Amrabat a 7 based on what we've already discussed. Source 6.
I didn't expect that from you, Stu. I'll be honest.
6. Yeah. A good finish. Look, credit where credit is due. In a very tight space, he took it down well, and I don't care how it went in. The intent was there to do what he went to do, so it was a great finish. But he gets a 6 for me because I thought he was woeful for his game, which is and the same as Darlow, so I couldn't be fair. And Bruno, a real problem. I don't think I'm giving him more. 6 again. I think. I can't give any more than 6 unless you disagree, you two, please. But 6 for me. for
I think
Bruno.
I think it's a really difficult one with Bruno. I think we've been so used to the numbers and everything, and the
Standards.
yeah. I think it's really difficult. I think that he's playing sort of like a quieter role. He's doing his job, but because he's not providing everything that we can actually, talk about and latch onto, it's very difficult.
Wonderful free kick. Wonderful free kick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, very close. Yeah, shame.
But
give me a point extra if he'd got that.
Yeah. Yes, but it's six for me. I didn't think so. I mean that leaves Kai, doesn't it, with a front three?
Yes, go for it, Kai. Over to you, Anthony, Rashford, and Højlund.
Yeah, Anthony. Nah, I can't do it with him. 5.
Yeah,
because
100%
there
agree.
are so many wingers in the Premier League that seem so devastating in comparison to Anthony when they play against us. It's obvious in the game, and all I want is to see the same on our side. Like,
Totally agree.
I see Solly March. I see him destroying fullbacks.
I know.
And he's just doing in and out. And it's not like Solly March has way more pace. It's almost like he's
got less pace.
And he's just got understanding, and he just is him. There's, but I feel like there's too much. He's not good, man. Can I tell you something? This guy is going to be one of the worst signings that we've made because of his skill set and how he uses it in the Premier League. It is a tough old game, and if you're not just aggressive in all your actions, you're gonna drown out. Even his shots are soft. Even his left foot shots that should go top corner are soft a lot of the times. 1 goal in 77 shots. That's his stat.
I don't disagree. I would go with 5
things. Either his shot selection is poor, but also his passing to the far post or his assist numbers. Reverse pass. I haven't seen one reverse pass. What left-footed winger cuts in and doesn't do a reverse pass to their number 9? I don't know.
I was having a conversation with a Villa fan, actually, not a United fan, and he was giving me the same spiel about it. And I do try to defend him. And I have seen some great things. I think his numbers could be better. I think he could be a lot more explosive. That's the kind of winger that we were expecting. But I am struggling now to defend that. I can't keep talking about his work rate. I can't keep talking about his tracking back. He needs to improve.
Yeah,
he is a massively talented footballer.
Yeah,
he is a hugely talented footballer, but he just doesn't know what to do with that talent, and that's embarrassing when you're pulling on the red shirt, the greatest club in world football.
But Stu, the answer is actually quite obvious for him. It's right there. And the answer is in I think it was the first half, when he received the ball and we were now going on the counter attack, and he knocked it past the lad from Sheffield, and he got a yellow card. That's right. It's obvious. It's right there.
Yeah.
Put the ball in there and run and
get
go.
After it. Get after it.
He's got acceleration. That is actually
and
quite good.
We saw more of that last season, I think, didn't we?
Noggin.
Yeah.
So much.
And the Premier League, the trick now with the Premier League is it's all about how many times you do it at 100%. You have to do it at the exact 100%, at least 6 to 10 times in a game for you to be deadly. Like Salah, 6 to 8 times, even 3 to 4 times, he'll do something extremely aggressive. Same thing, 4 or 5 times, and then he'll get you at least 2 goals. Because
100%.
The other guy's scared now. Because they're like, we know what he's going to do here. So Anthony needs something which the defenders can attach to, which says, okay, we know what he is. Not just a guy who will stop-start. He needs to create separation, create fear in his game, and that's just by looking at Ryan Giggs' videos and looking at what he did. Ryan Giggs swerved his body left, swerved it right. The ball was right there, by the way, and he was swerving left, swerving right. Guys are just shuffling, and I think he needs to watch videos of those.
And Kanchelskis. Get it, Kanchelskis, right? Andrew Kanchelskis, he'll knock the ball. Kanchelskis just knocked the ball 10, 15 yards, and he was that rapid. Try and catch me. Try and catch me, mate.
Exactly. And he'll do that over and over. So I would give Anthony anyways a 5.
Same, mate.
because I
same.
just think he needs to do a little more of that. Rashford, I have to rate him with the standards of Rashford because he's got to do better. He is now
Yeah.
the key player. So still, for me, it would be like Bruno. They just not existent enough or devastating enough for us. But I guess it was a 6 because he did create some chances. And for Hoyland, it's difficult. It's
I like
difficult because
Yeah.
you give him a full 6 for what he is, just for his center forward play by itself, right? And then you think of the chances he missed, and you're like, okay, but can I give him extra? But then you think to yourself, how many was it? Most number 9s that are in the Premier League that do well at least have 5 or 6, so that they can be mad at themselves. Damn it, I missed a chance. But Hoyland is going home.
Probably should have capitalized on at least one of those, I think.
True,
tonight.
but he's going home thinking to himself, I only got 2 chances, or every game I only get 1 chance. And for me, it needs to be a little more for the striker he is. Ten Hag needs to be like to United players, the Van Persie spiel. If you don't pass to this guy, you're sitting on the bench, mate, because he's that good. He needs to be played in the channel.
You're right.
He needs all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they were saying that the one where the keeper Fothergill saved it, or Fothergill, whatever his name is, saved it. But did you know that was a strike from Bruno,
right?
And,
exactly,
and he took it wonderfully. It was just too fast on his foot for him to be able to catch it properly.
Yeah.
It would have been a brilliant goal. Goal.
And
great.
In another game, that's a goal, because those are the types of things Lewandowski does. If you look at Lewandowski playing and you look at Benzema playing, those are the type of things they do. The ball's going nowhere. It's a terrible shot, and you just see outstretched foot, bang, ball stops, they shifted, shot. And
bang,
and it'll start going in. But now what we need is
he just needs more. He needs to miss more. I agree with you. He needs to miss more.
They need to give him a better reason.
Understand that, but he does, yeah.
They need to give him a better reason to feel bad about his performance. If he says I missed 6 or I missed 5 chances, then he can be mad. But this 2 chances thing, then it's not giving him enough. And I just think they just find him when Anthony cuts in, reverse pass. If you see him doing this, he's rapid. He's really quick, but we don't see it
very quick
because we're not using it. But he's super quick. Let him run the defender down the channels, So I would give him a 6.5 because he tried and he had some chances, but his center forward play is a 6. But he needs more chances.
He'll get there. He'll definitely get there.
The relationships
he's definitely good enough.
He's a
good player. Good player.
He is. I absolutely love him. I mean,
and remember how old he is, huh? For him, I mean, how often do 20-year-olds play as a number 9 starting striker for a massive team in world football? How many play? There's not many, and the ball sticks to his feet. He's not looking like, what's going on here?
It's a family affair Tuesday, isn't it? Because his brother's on the turf, isn't he?
Oh yes, yeah.
It's Copenhagen, doesn't he? So
I didn't realise we had a fixture on Tuesday. I'm so far behind, boys. Christ, it's been 2 weeks. Here I am. Copenhagen. Yeah, absolutely right. Tuesday night, which means I'm doing another reaction in as well. Boys, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
Great one tonight. 2 wins on the bounce now. Hopefully we can continue that going forward, and hopefully we can see some improvements on the points you've both made tonight.
Hope. Stop having hope.
No, should always have hope.
No.
Appreciate everyone in the comments tonight. Obviously, if you're watching this tomorrow, get liking, get subscribing, all that jazz. Today it would be, of course, but you know what I'm saying. Really appreciate everything tonight. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.